Hello, this is Lord Chocolate back with another ARK stream. This is going to be very short ARK Extinction stream because I only have like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But I will be briefly going over the lore of Extinction and starting off with just the very basic starting of the game, obviously, in my actual server, because I was just playing a little bit on single player last night. So let me make sure stream is up and running and start customizing character. So hair color is brown is fine. My color is normal. Head size is tiny. Upper face size is big. Lower face size is small. Head width is big. Head height is small. Head depth is decent big. Neck size is huge. Neck length is short. Torso chest is small. Shoulders are huge. Hip is wide. Torso width is wide. Yeah. Torso height is down. Depth is a little bit down, just so a little bit more realistic. Arm's hand is huge. Arm length is huge. Upper arm is not huge. Lower arm is not huge. 5. And yes, I'll start talking about Extinction lore very briefly. So basically it starts off with, I'm assuming you know a little bit about the characters and stuff in Extinction. I mean, not in Extinction, in ARK's lore currently. But it starts off with Santiago from Aberration, talking about how they arrive and figuring out that it's Earth, and that they're on Earth definitely, and they basically, but basically he discovers that they're on Earth for sure, and he realizes that there's a lot more element than there should be, like bigger the deposit than anything, while they're setting up, because they have element technology. So basically, he is wondering if all the corruption and destruction on Earth is caused by some element technologies that he actually developed. Like, he's wondering if he's responsible for all the corruption and death on Earth due to the elements spreading from like the war he was developing technology for. Then they develop mechs to defend themselves from the giant monsters and creatures they encounter, and once they do that, when they're nearly finished developing the combined mech, and Helena and Mayan are chosen as two, and the one random other person are chosen, as well as Santiago, to pilot them. But once the mechs are developed, then, or are almost developed but not quite fully, then they're attacked, or the Titans approach, or not necessarily Titans but monsters or whatever, and Santiago sacrifices himself by luring them off in one of the mechs, and the others escape with the other mechs that they finish. Then I think they come to the city or some sort of archive, and they discover information about how the ARKs are a project to reseed the population of Earth, like to develop life forms and then bring them back to Earth, but there's something keeping them from coming down, and kind of corruption and stuff, issues. And then Mayan discovers an artifact or object that when, what am I missing? Oh yeah, wood problem. But Mayan discovers an artifact thing that then when shown to Helena basically when Santiago was testing her for the mech, he discovered she has a very acute nervous system. So Helena is basically like when she touches the artifact falls apart and reveals a specimen implant, basically a shaped object, or an object that would fit into her specimen implant actually. And Mayan is kind of protective, not wanting to lose any more friends, so she basically uh, tries to keep Helena from studying it, or at least be more cautious. So there's some struggle with that, but eventually she's letting her studying it from a distance. And then they have to leave because there's a lot of monsters coming towards them. And about that time... Okay, I need to get some food and some... Oh, I'm hungry and thirsty. Why am I... But... But yeah. Then, after some studying, she starts having visions and stuff that kind of attach her to the thing in a way. And those visions kind of make her wonder if it's important to put it in, and she starts seeing this random tomb thing and all sorts of random things, and the monsters coming actually before they actually notice they're coming. And then when they're attacked, all the others are killed, and oh bother, I'm dead. Whee, oopsie daisy. Yep, but she basically, I'm gonna choose a slightly different spot so I can actually be lower down, but she basically puts the implant in to try and see if it will help them. I think it indicates that it might, because she has this vision of a ladder and she is escaping, and I think the King Titan is attacking them at the time, and it basically causes all the Titans like distraction, or kind of scares them away or something like that, like makes it hard for them to concentrate and they're able to escape or something. But after that, they do pretty well. Or no, they don't do pretty well. Absent-minded. Helena basically bother. Oh bother. No, not one of those guys. Not a Caprosuchus. Oh bother. My least favorite dinosaur. Oh, why did they have to add Capros? Capros. Shell shock. But yeah, Helena basically falls into a coma, and there's all sorts of trouble with. She's having all sorts of visions, and she keeps talking about the tomb, and she like draws a map that Mayan starts following, which takes her, which eventually, after lots of trouble, Malin eventually gets. Yeah, but after a bunch of trouble, Mayan eventually gets her to the Tomb of Ascension, and basically there's like basically a super advanced tech bed, and when she's put in the bed, she starts some sort of process, and Mayan holds up the monsters that are coming to try and stop it. The corrupted creatures are coming in hordes, and then Helena basically turns into a Homo Deus, at least that's assumed, because she turns, when Mayan finishes holding off the monsters, which includes some of the Titans, she comes back and sees, just in time to see Helena turn into light, and a being made out of light, and kind of vanish. And basically then we get a lot of explorer notes from the one who waits, who's almost certainly Helena. Like, there's absolutely no reason not to think it's Helena, except for the fact that the one who waits doesn't even know who she is. Like, doesn't know who she is herself, like who she used to be. But she basically tells a lot of things, mentions that the Homo Deus, all the existing ones other than her, have lost their personalities due to overloads of information. Basically says that they all gain obscene amounts of information because they like get all the information of the ARKs. And I didn't think that through. But oh no. Okay, second death. Yep. But basically she talks about how she's trying to influence the system, and right before Mei-Yin is kind of depressed because she doesn't know what happened and she's by herself, and then basically it's oh bother. Okay, those don't really seem super aggressive. Oh, I might be able to actually descend. But Mei-Yin, but I need to quit in a second. So Mei-Yin is almost about to be killed by well, monsters and titans or something. And Helena, or the one who waits, dead. Yep. I'll not respawn again because I need to quit in a second. But the one who waits is basically, well, I will. But the one who waits, it manages to bring back Diana from Aberration, who was killed by Rockwell, like, I guess time isn't relevant to the Homo Deus, and she's connected to the system like all the Homo Deus are, which brings me to the theory that I believe the Homo Deus became the Overseers, because they're she kind of says there's one for each ARK, which kind of indicates the idea that perhaps the Homo Deus became the Overseers when they lost their personality and became kind of just there to run the system and whatever. And she's worried, that, of course, that she'll lose hers due to the overload of information, but yeah, she manages to bring back Diana, who saves Mei-Yin, and then they run off trying to kill titans and stuff. And then yeah, basically the one who waits talks a lot about how Element is actually alive and how it's corrupted the earth and repopulated, and the titans are extensions of its will, and its entire purpose is to corrupt and destroy and take over and reproduce them, basically. And that it talks more about how the ARKs are meant to reseed the population, talks about how you need to defeat the titans and the King Titan to make it possible for the ARKs to finish cleaning up the element from the earth, because the titans are kind of protecting the element and also are spreading it and like a source of its power, kind of. And basically there's a lot of stuff about that. And then when you kill the boss titan, it brings in all the ARKs down from the sky to reseed the populations like it should, and it shows some of that starting, but then it shows Aberration, at least in one of the cutscenes, the alpha one, shows Aberration at the very end, and it kind of ominous noises, so you wonder, oh, is Rockwell gonna, like, well, from some of the notes it seems like, at least according to the one who waits, she thinks Rockwell's dead, and I'd think she'd know better. She'd know, but at least there's some sort of issue, and that might result in a new DLC. I probably missed a few things, but I believe that was the majority of it, and I hope you enjoyed this very brief stream. I'll actually get started into actual more Extinction gameplay in a little bit when I have more time. Hope you enjoy.